We use what's called a one-pager. I saw a speaker once who talked about financial statements. What are financial statements written for? What is the real purpose of financial statements? To pay the tax man. Has nothing to do with how do you run your company profitably. So then we spend lots of time, our accountant sends us big packets of balance sheets and income statements, and at the end of the day, what are we all doing? Swimming, our heads are just swimming, right? And I saw this speaker once who said, you need a one-page that kind of says it all. That includes some of the P&L, some of the income statement, and yes, parts of the balance sheet that are important, like cash and inventory. Right? So we developed this one-pager that everybody can understand and everybody can be accountable to. So I haven't included all of it, but I do want to talk about a couple points in this. Obviously, we have some revenues. And there's one thing that I don't have in mind I took out, but I would recommend you guys look into doing this. And that is right below the net sales line, collections. What is your collections? Because everything starts, a sale is not a sale until you get paid for it, right? If your collections is less than your sales number, that's all right. That just means you've got less to operate with for the next month. Wouldn't it be nice to know that your key people know how much you can operate for the next month? Now, which brings up another thought I had. So if I've got 6 employees, I don't really have all these names to put on the P&L or on this one-pager. That's okay. Do you have one guy who's in charge of purchasing? Or I'm saying one guy in charge of production? Right? He needs to be on this, right? Everybody's got at least 1, 2 key employees. They need to be a part of the financials, don't they? They need to be a part of acting like an owner and worried about the bottom line. Okay, so back to the one-pager. Everybody's on the same page, you've got a collections number in there, and you're subtracting everything out from there. What's the most important part about this page right here? What is the most important part that you guys see on this page?
The names.
The names. Responsibility. A clear scope of responsibility. Louis is in charge of total in-stock sales. Not somebody, not Kent, Louis, right? And if he doesn't hit his number, guess what? We're going to find out why. That's his responsibility, clearly defined. Also in the one-pager, real quick, we do what's called a dashboard. This is kind of like the dashboard on your car. You're just looking at oil pressure, just quick glances. Well, because we're counting for cars in the top one-pager, we're accounting for cars from a cash basis. At any time, we can say we're real profitable. We just buy fewer cars. So in this, we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure we're looking at the car purchases, the cost of goods sold. We're looking at, and by the way, we're looking at everything on a daily average. Daily average, real simple. Why? So we can compare what we did yesterday, what we did last month, so we can bring everything back to a clear point. Clear point of responsibility. Okay. Now at the end of every year, we sit down, we would say, okay, what are the 5 to 10 really important things that we have to accomplish this year? Right? We make a list of them. Then we say, how do we account for it? What's the number that's going to make that better? And who's responsible for it? Right? So everybody has a goal. Everybody has a goal, and the goals are reset annually if they need be. And once a month we go through and we highlight those key goals. What are those key things? It's either, I didn't go back to do the whole sheet, but if you notice at the far right, we've got green ones and we've got red ones. Green means what? Great job, give you a hug. Red ones mean what? When are you going to fix it? Simple. When are you going to fix it? All right. Budgets. What do we budget? Yes, we budget the whole year out. What are the real important budgets? Wages and expenses. Again, There's names next to each and every one of these. Who's responsible for that line item? What is the percentage there allowed? What happens if it goes red? They have to fix it, and they have to tell us when they're going to fix it. Not how. I don't care how. It's not my job. That's their job. Right? Okay. We also use a trailing 12-month average. That helps us with the clarity, because some months have 22 days, some have 21, some have 3 payrolls in it. All we're trying to do is get clarity around the accounting. So we look at 12-month averages. Where are we for the last 12 months, and looking at trend lines. And any change of that trend line, that is something that we have to watch. What are the 4 things we're looking at? We're looking at, from a high level, the sales number, the gross profit number, the operating expenses as a percentage of sales, as well as our running EBITDA. Okay? 4 key, major, big picture things to look at once a year. So, now that you got the big picture stuff done, you got the structure set up, you know who's watching what numbers, right? What's the next step? Well, there's no better way to hold somebody accountable timely than in their paycheck, is there? If you pay once a week they get a "how did I do" check. Or every 2 weeks. Did I do good, or did I do bad? It's a system. And how do you do that? Well, there's several ways. You can pay by commission. You can pay on a bonus, a piece rate, right? When we were at our worst, and we realized how much discretionary time we were fighting within our employees, we used a term, fuzzies. And we actually had a measurement for about a year. How many fuzzies do we have? And what was the definition of a fuzzy? Somebody who wasn't paid on commission, bonus, or piecemeal. Guess how many fuzzies we have now? 0. Everybody is on commission, bonus, or piecemeal. They're going to know every 2 weeks, did I do a good job or did I do a bad job? Pretty good little reminder, don't you think? So I'm at this presentation and I see this guy come up and he starts talking about fighter pilots and OODA loop. Anybody here heard of OODA loop? Anybody ever heard of an OODA loop? He came in and he started speaking about how what they teach fighter pilots is hugely important to business. It's the same thing we need to be teaching our employees, is the OODA loop. And I'm scratching my head looking at this chart going, OODA who? And all these charts and lines and so he starts to explain it. It's actually pretty simple. If I'm a fighter jet pilot, what do most jets have? They have a big glass canopy, right? Well, why do they have that big glass canopy? Because you can observe. You can look around. Well, is it important for managers to look around? Is it important for your part holders to look around, find that door, find that future problem? Absolutely. Look around. Observe. So then he went through the whole fighter. So I'm a fighter jet pilot and I'm flying. I'm observing. I'm looking for MiGs. Well, I see a MiG. What's the next step? Well, I got to figure out what I'm going, where he's coming from. What degree of attack he's coming in on? What is he at the 3 o'clock position? Is he going Mach 2? I got to calculate all that stuff, right? And then once I calculate all that stuff, then what do I got to do? I got to get a plan. I could do this. I could do a back 360. I could do a flip. I can just turn around and go home, right? So he's got to figure out all his options. All the different things he can do as options to kill that MiG. I've got to kill that MiG, or I'm going to get killed. Then the last thing he's got to do is what? He's got to act on it. He's got to do whatever he planned on doing. And once he acts on it, is it all over? Whew! I did my back 360 and I swooped in on the 3 o'clock. And is that all there is? if he didn't kill the MiG, guess what? He's got to start all over again. Okay, well, where'd he go now? Right? So it's an OODA loop. It just keeps going. And by the way, the faster you OODA loop, the what? The better chance you have of surviving. Right? And I tried to get my head around this concept and how that works at work. And I kept thinking, you know, I think I've seen that before. Observe, orient, decide, act. It must be important. I've seen those 4 concepts another way. And I remembered this book I read called The Oz Principle. And the Oz Principle is just about employee ownership, taking ownership of their job. It's very similar. And I really scratched my head, oh, but boy, that's fun. Michelle had asked me to do the presentation on accountability, and it still hadn't hit me until I'm in a marketing presentation, and guess what I see? Marketing, penetration, flow. It's the same 4 damn words, just 4 concepts, same 4 concepts. And then I'm pulling out charts, getting ready for this presentation, and then what do you think I saw there? Communication gap circle. Now, the words are a little different, but they all mean the same thing. And it's all really clear in the Oz Principle. It's a great book. What do you want your employees doing? And when they got to the wizard, what did they find out?
They solved them themselves.
They solved them themselves. That's the whole Oz Principle, right? So what does that have to do with the junkyard, right, guys? Well, how many times during the day does somebody come off to see the wizard for you to solve their problems? And I don't understand why owners do this. They keep their profits secret. Oh, we don't want employees to know that we have to be profitable. Oh my God, we don't want them to know we're profitable. Well, in my organization, everybody understands we have to be profitable. We have to. When you've got a culture where everybody is holding everybody accountable and there's a clear system of what they need to do to get the job done.